Good morning. It's Wednesday already. It's MT Live Day. All right. So markets are up here a bit. Not too much. It's been a grinder on the way up. There was a little bit of selling yesterday on some catching colds virus, which I believe that's what I've been dealing with. That's what Pat in the room emailed me when I started that cough 2 weeks ago. She said, "You have viral pneumonia," and sent me some special magic potion. Anyway, I'm getting better. But I tell you, if that's what I had, whatever I had, it was nasty. So I don't wish it. Well, maybe I wish it on some people anyway, to be honest. Anyway, so markets continue to move up. It's kind of getting to be a bore as far as the story goes. I mean, what do I say differently? Multiple time frame alignment, the power's there, it's going up. Where does it stop? We look at whole numbers. So maybe it's 30,000, even though the option traders in history have never gotten it right for more than a day or two. And here we are with the friggin' thing in nosebleed territory up here. Picked up a little bit on the put side, a little bit, but look at this breath here. So this is not a good thing. I've said it before, but we look for stocks that are showing relative strength, or we've been finding tons of stuff that have been killed last year and have these bottoming patterns, and they're popping a few days. So, it's like being a miner, go out there and find the gold, and, we're finding stuff that's turning up, the stuff, rotation, right? Money goes, some of the money comes out of the winners. Obviously people leave funds there and they go to the dogs and see, that they can turn up, and there is stuff that's turning up, bringing up the rear, as we call it. We're playing catch up. But this market is getting traders, institutions think that, this market is going to be like, I read one article, like this is the beginning of 1999, where, we're going into, if anybody was trading in 1999, I know some of you have, but it was an amazing, amazing year. And quite honestly, I thought to myself, markets go through, cycles, and we saw the, giant bear market after that. But I kind of wondered back then, as the time went on, would I ever see in my lifetime a market like that again? And if this is it, fantastic, because it was an amazing time. I mean, you could just buy anything and made money, and things moved. A story that I've told, many times in the past, and these things kind of dissipate over the years. You're talking many, many years ago now, but when I had my office in New York, and a fella came from France to, to learn to trade. And, he said, in his French kind of broken English, whatever, he said, "Greg, come over here to the window." And he put a chart up in the window of, it was Yahoo at the time. And he's like, this was the earnings then, and this is what it did, and so on. It's like, I'm projecting that this is what it's going to do again. And it did it. And, Yahoo went up like, I don't know, 50 points. And he went out and bought everybody champagne and fancy cookies and whatever. And that's okay. That's all great. So after everybody had their champagne and cookies, after market, some stock reports its earnings, and the thing jumps 20 points. He reaches over to the mouse and he buys 1,000 shares. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, it's up 20 points already. What's it going to do tomorrow? Gap up and crap, whatever. The damn thing gaps up like another 15 or 20 points. So when you say 1999, for those of you that weren't trading, it was an amazing time where things happened that just were crazy. You could say it cannot last, but it lasted a year. So if we start seeing something like that, I'm not saying don't be afraid to press the accelerator a bit. Of course, do it intelligently, but things happened back then that were not the norm, that's for sure. So yeah, it's part of experience in the markets, like with any profession. Having experienced things in the past, you are more equipped to take advantage of those things, or join a place like the green room where you have not only Dan and myself, but even people that have been around that long, that have experienced these things. So it's a great place to learn. Anyway, so far the markets are in this what I've called a self-correcting uptrend, and at some point, obviously, they're going to correct. And I mentioned yesterday, maybe the beginning of February on the ISM report. We'll see. But higher highs and higher lows, and you don't fight it unless it's intraday. And right, we saw a little drop yesterday, which we took advantage of with this little double top here in the futures. Got that little blast to the downside. I know we're looking at the Dow because, it's kind of thoughts, well, maybe this thing's going to blast up to 30,000, but, we'll see if that's in the cards. That would be another big whole number, milestone, so on and so forth. That could be the stalling point. So let's look at where these markets are here. Okay. So that dip yesterday afternoon before I took off to my meeting was a nice little move to the downside. And one of the themes yesterday, I said, okay, now here was the move down yesterday, which was near on support. And we looked at, all right, where would it go to, where the support levels are. And I said, look, see this big red bar? If it retraces all the way to the top, well, that negates it because typically it stays in the lower half. And when this bottomed out here and did that and came up, your bias should have been to consider buying pullbacks. And so, it went into, after hours, but just to point out the thought process there, where this weakness, right, within this time frame, if it stays down at the bottom here, well, you look for lower. Well, it retraced all the way to the top. Common sense. It's not going down, right? And if you're more aggressive, well, lower, smaller time frames, maybe you could have considered longs. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So right now, things are consolidating, after that push up here that was, right, some hours ago. And we just reversed the process. So let's make this a green bar. Right? So let's just see if we can line this up here. So here's the idea of resistance should become support. Well, everybody looks at it that way, and yeah, that kind of gives you a guide, but to really understand what's going on here as we look at it, well, we look inside of this bar and see if inside of this bar there's actually anything to the left. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, maybe it's just a void. So, just looking at this here, bar right here. So this is what's directly to the left, this little area right here around 33.24. However, if it's as bullish as it looks like it is, here we've got a swing low that's being retested, and this could be where it has created support and could push higher from there. So you go ahead and put your line in the sand there and say, okay, let's see if this is where maybe if you want to get long. I don't really care for the setup too much because this resistance is right there. But in any event, this is where it needs to hold now that it created that reference point. And if it doesn't hold, well, then you just simply go down to the next level and look there. So far, bullish to neutral, took out yesterday's high. Looks like it can go higher. And Qs looks even better, a little bit more extension from there and the same push up. And of course, now that it's creating the support, now, and you see the run up here inside the hourly bar, we know that there's nothing underneath. So if it breaks this low, well, that's going to open up the door to just a pullback down to some support. And then we just see what buyers want to do there. But weekly's up, daily's up, hourly's up. YM. A little bit of relative weakness, not a big deal, but it's chopping sideways, trying to retrace into yesterday's red bar. Let me see Robert's comment here. I accept the unknown, but I also want to believe I'm learning skills to use in the market. So when it's not like the 90s, well, all of the 90s weren't like 1999. I can assure you that. 1994 was a disastrous bear market where the markets went sideways, the stocks were crushed. 1995 was the blast off from the base. And I stay again. That's why I'm here in the green room. I believe my skills are improving. Thank you, Robert. Believe me, the longer you're here, the more skills you have, because Dan and I every day, look, I don't like to look at it as a job because I love what I do and doing this, but we're providing a service. That's why I call it a job. So we know our job is not only to provide you with good ideas to make money, but to educate you. And so even pre-market, the people that are on YouTube that are listening to this, they're learning. They're not paying us, but you know what? It's part of this, just call it advertising, what have you. People, kick the tires and say, hey, these guys know what they're talking about. Or they just, just the next chat room on the internet that's full of crap. And they listen and they decide if they want to join, and a bunch do. But anyway, they're getting education every day. So, if you were in here yesterday afternoon and, I did a lesson in the afternoon there before I left. And so every day is about taking you to the next level or reinforcing what you know. And that is what provides confidence. So Dow consolidating sideways here in the top of the wide range bar. Yes, we talked about, the middle of the wide range bar. It held there, looks good. So now we see if it can take out these highs here. And notice the little dip and retracement. Buyers there lurking on the dip. Why did they buy there? Look to the left. No fib retracements, no trend lines, no waves, no Ichikumi clouds. Just look to the left. Russell. Put spread for 3320 SPX. Well, again, we start with, the futures. And as I did, look at support, resistance, and a put spread. So that bottoming tail bar right there, if you can get under that bottoming tail bar, that's good, right? That's good. If below here, and what are you saying? 3320. So SPX 3320. And this doesn't update pre-market, so I don't know how far it dipped down, where that is relative to that. But so it's opening above here. So yeah, 3320. Since it's up a little bit, but I would give it a 5 minutes or so to see what it is. Sometimes, these gap ups, they just gap up and get sold into. That's what happened yesterday. And then it kind of stabilized and went back up. So, give it a few minutes before jumping in. Yeah, Paul saying 33.15 is safer. I totally agree. So sometimes it's better to take a little less and a little bit more of a, I don't like to use the word guarantee, but greater odds of taking that money home at the end of the day. Thank you, Bill. Bill says this room is a gift. I like to think of it that way. All right, so Russell pulling back here. And this is what I talked about yesterday. Is it what was resistance become support? Or is it just support that's directly to the left? Right? I've said, in my time of educating people and searching for the Holy Grail, so to speak. And what is the Holy Grail? The holy grail is really understanding what's going on in the market. For me, through price action. So it was always just, why does this work? You know, because I looked at this when I first started. Oh yeah, you look what was resistance become support, but what is the reaction to that resistance on the test? And that's what's directly to the left and what is support. So as prices come down to this area, not that area, intraday traders react to this. And that is what, if it's still there, right? You can see right there is where the buyers stepped up. And so the hourly here is trending down, but the retracement off of the low was 100%. So that is a positive, right? Trend following, lower highs and lower lows. No trend lines, no clouds, no bands, no channels. Just look at the chart. Right? And oil, whoa. You know, okay, so I look at that and it jumps out at me. It's like, it could not hold there. It tried. This could be a measured move to the downside. Now, what would that mean if oil dropped all the way back down there again? Well, it's good for us at the gas pump, but why is there little demand for oil, or is there a tremendous oversupply? Which that could be the case, you know, just too much for whatever demand there is. I don't know, but this, I'm not sure if this is going to be a positive or a negative if oil starts dropping like this. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Going back down, but I know that the ETFs weren't looking so nice yesterday. Right, so these look like they're going lower. Maybe some shorts on these oil sectors. I know Alex had mentioned SLB having broken down yesterday, and notice that topping tail. That was a tell. You know, if you're along this over here and you see something like that, you better think about hedging or just getting out. Bonds pushing up here a little bit, still a mess. Gold, and they're just hanging out here at the futures, but GLD looks a little more interesting. I'm really not sure, but that gapped and reversed yesterday. So I'm not sure it's out of the woods. It's pretty close to that high. What I've been saying, I want to see it pull back to this line here, but that doesn't mean it's going to do what I want it to do. That's for sure. Maybe it's just too strong. Silver was weaker yesterday. It's up here today, but pretty messy. And transports, reversing that amazing gap reversal, but so we'll have to keep an eye on this for sure. It's not an index I watch intraday, but if this breaks under this breakout bars low, that is not going to be a good sign. Anyway, I'll keep an eye on that from my other platform. What time is it? I went too long today. All yours, Dan.
All right, thanks. Good morning. Hey, Greg, I was typing to you to answer something from 1999's, your comments there. With my question to you was, and I was there trading with you, and I just don't remember, but you know, when things just kept going up, do you remember, could you still respect the internals the same, or was it so bullish that, like it is right now, with the sentiment being so bearish, and you know, look at the spiders, they got it right. So that's my question. And could, you know, yes, it's overall bullish, but we still respect the heck out of bearish internals. I guess he walked away. All right, let's continue. We have a gift in LRCX. I sent out an alert saying to sell a third pre-market.
Anyway, we'll discuss it later. Finish this.
Okay. So yeah, let's go into a move stop 30-minute low, sell a third pre-market, and trail. Our beyond is well, it was down $3, which It's still fine. I moved the stop on our put spread way down here. So it's fine. Yeah, sorry. I just had a quick call there for a second, scheduling a guy coming over. Okay, so Beyond is fine. LRCX is a gift. Everything's fine. So let's, Amazon, Augusta gave us this yesterday, and I wanted to do a put spread, and look at that strength. It just kept going. But I told him it looked fantastic. Tesla, I said yesterday on the gap up that I did not think it was going to make an M top because of that bullish action. And what a beautiful 15-minute. That's a beautiful 15-minute chart. And then, wow, this was pre-market yesterday, these in between these dotted lines. That's amazing strength. And then it went up more, consolidated all day. Wow. All right, let's go to gappers now. Yeah, this looks like a pump and dumper or whatever. Look at that. Went from $3 to 14. Now you're under 4. We don't trade junk like that. OSS. It looked like a dead animal. Something's up today. It could shape up. I'll leave them on the list. There's our LRCX. MU. One of you asked me about this yesterday, and I said it looked fantastic. It had a gap, wide range bar, multi-week consolidation. It looked great yesterday, and now it's gapping up. MDR 62 cents. Oh, the reason I'm looking at this is because I read in the journal today that they're finally filing for bankruptcy. Now I remember, and it's in the oil patch. Sometimes you hear us say that looks like it's going to zero, and this was one that it failed. Its business model failed. Boeing, more pain. It's higher. We'll keep an eye on it. Beyond, we talked about Zion. This wonderful drilling going on. Sorry about that. So nice breakout failure. This is a topping pattern. When you have the 20 and 50 rolling, the only way those MAs will roll like that is if you have many bars to let those MAs roll over when you have a lower price, and then they drop the prior one. So this looks like a short or a call spread. Navi gapping up. It's worth watching. We'll see if he'll do anything. Interactive Broker had earnings. It's not very liquid pre-market. We'll come back to it. Folt. Hey, Russ, your drop down, please. Folt gapping down 1663. That's a bearish gap. We can, wow, this is what we call a frog in a blender. Look at, overall, it's a bull flag. But I don't think there's 2 months in a row of the same color. So that's very erratic price action. FSB, I can't tell where you're gapping. UCBI, that's junk. I'm going to delete it. Cough, bullish gap to 105. That's bullish. Let's watch that. Maybe 30-minute high. Ameritrade gapping down. Remember Schwab's buying them. 40. We'll watch that for a short 30-minute low. No volume, we'll come back to it. BOKF, I can't tell where it's gapping. BKR down to 2250. There's not a great price, Void. I'm just deleting you. Remember, I'm looking for tier 1 setups, which I define as they're ready to rock and roll. Now, this was a nice 1, 2, 3 PLD. Oh, I think we were long this. Shoot, I said earnings 122. You know what, folks? That's why, look, that's our current post. And this is exactly why, I give you all of the earnings. It's not, this one slipped by me, but it's right there in our face, earnings 122. We still have a beautiful profit, but I, without a doubt, would have either sold into strength yesterday and or the gap up today to 97. So let me just do a quick alert. All right, so this is what I told him. I just sent a telegram that $9:30, I've got the market opening here. Like it's still a nice gain. Netflix coming in. Let me put PLD here. All right, CBU breakout failure. FitB, another regional bank that's rolled over. It's under the declining 2050. It might be headed to the 200. J&J, bearish gap, but no pattern. NTRS, that's a nasty gap. But you got buyers here, maybe 15-minute low. On Netflix, bearish action. Hey, this is now looks like a call spread. That's McGraw. Let's watch it for that. Alex, congratulations on your IBM. He did a bull call debit spread, speculating on earnings. What's the midpoint now? How much are you up? I remember it was $1.80 when I looked at it with you. PLD Ganga. No, you got to wait. It's breaking out to all-time highs. So I wouldn't fight this unless you had like an M top or some. I need more information. I need more info on before I would short that. Abbott, all-time highs, nice gap reversal down here, but nothing to do with it. Glancing at opens, see if we have any problems. Nope, LRCX up $5. You know what? Let's just move it now. I said 30-minute low, but let's make it 5-minute low now.